and welcome to the Knitting Eillets Podcast. I am so glad we are back with another episode. This is episode 9, I think. And first of all, welcome to all the new subscribers and welcome back to the ones who were already with me. I was really flabbergasted when I saw the new number of subscribers. We are at 128 now, which is, for me, it's just crazy. It's not the first time I tell you this, that I'm shocked when I kind of look at the number in my channel oversight kind of front page. I'm always, I can't believe actually that so many people have subscribed to my channel and so many of you are watching it even without subscribing. I'm also very grateful if you just watch. No matter if you are a subscriber or not, I would be very happy if you liked the video, and maybe you can think again about subscribing to the channel if you want to not miss any videos that are coming. In this video I have 2 finished objects, 3 whips and some acquisitions. I splurged a bit on yarn. It's not all here yet, so I'm still waiting for 4 skeins to arrive, but more to that later. We have had a lot of ice and snow the last 1.5 to 2 weeks. It was around -2 degrees on the day, -6-7 up to -10-11 sometimes during the night. So it has been really freezing cold, and there was a really icy wind blowing, not too hard. We don't have like storm or something, but just always this little wind, which, wow, it's chilling you to the bone. It's terrible. I don't like that at all. I don't mind cold, but I do really mind the wind a lot. So I posted some photos on Instagram with me kind of packed up. Every inch of me is kind of wrapped up in knits. So I was very happy for my cashmere hat. I was very happy for all my loops and shawls, my jumpers. It was just icy. But the light is coming back slowly. It's almost 5 o'clock now and we still have some light. Earlier at 5 o'clock, like before Christmas, it was kind of dark outside, or already getting very dark. Now we are about at 5:30 maybe. So yeah, I'm glad about that. I actually missed the light, and I don't like it if I come at home and it's dark, kind of in the middle of the afternoon. It's strange. So yeah. I'm really looking forward to spring and summer, but I'm also enjoying the white, frosty trees in the forest. It just looks magical. It's especially when the sunlight is there also and hits it a bit. It looks really magical, I think, and I really like that. Now, what I am wearing. I am wearing one of my first jumpers. I can't remember. I think it was my 4th jumper, my 2nd raglan jumper. I first did the light blue one you've, I think, seen last time, and this is the 2nd one I made. I made it up, kind of. I really made it up. It's not a pattern. The only thing is I used the Tincan Knits raglan pattern, the free one, just for how many stitches I need to cast on, and I used their DK weight stitch count to cast on the neckline because I liked how it looked. I don't like my necklines to be kind of up here choking me, because I anyways always am wearing a scarf in winter, not just for the itch factor, which I almost always have around my neck, but I have a very sensitive neck, and if it gets cold it kind of tenses all up and I get headaches. So I really need to keep my neck warm and my shoulders. So yeah, that's why I'm always wearing a scarf. So this is a very basic raglan. Very basic increases, nothing special here. The special thing is that I made a kind of braid go down the shoulder, and the braid pattern is out of my really trusty old pattern book, which I showed you in the 4th Advent special, where I showed you all of my knitting books I own. So if you're really interested, go check that one out. They're all listed there. I show you the books. I'm not going to do that again and again. You've already seen it also when you saw my 2nd episode where I made my own t-shirt with a little pattern. It's the same book basically. So I really like that, but I think the sleeves, because of the cable, they are not like, I don't feel they are tight, but they look a bit tight. They are quite snug around my upper arm. They are just fine around my underarm. I have some room there, but with the cable they became a bit snug here. If I would knit this again, I would make a bit more, cast on a bit more sleeve stitches and do the sleeves a bit larger in circumference, so they have a bit of ease. They are not too tight though, so I like it. The rest is just plain. So let me just show the length to you. My belly button is here. My pants usually end just under my belly button. I like this length, but I would add maybe next time 2 or 3 more centimeters, just when I lift my arm, that it doesn't ride up that much. But otherwise, this is a very lovely fit, and it's a very, very warm jumper. I would say it's the warmest jumper I own. The wool I knitted it in is the Tweed Delight from Hobby, with it's the brown color, and it has these little speckles in orange, green, yellow, and I really like that. It just gives it a little bit of extra, and I love the color combo, and it's very soft. It pills, as you can see here. It pills quite a lot, which was to be expected, as the yarn has a bit of an unspun feeling to it. So I was expecting it to pill, which I actually do not mind. I wear my sweaters, I love them, and they can pill. I don't mind. Really. What I do mind is if they felt, but I don't mind pilling. If it's too much, I just kind of pluck it up. I don't know what to call it. It's my raglan sweater with the braids on the arms. I like it. I think it is a nice combination of being rustic and simple, easy to wear, but with a little bit of an extra detail to make it a bit special too. So let's go to the finished object. My first finished object, which I actually finished 2nd of January during Vanicia's from the Woolly Worker live 12-hour stream, charity stream. I was with her. I was watching the stream for 11 hours, I think. So I did other stuff whilst watching it. I did cook, I did laundry and stuff. But I also knitted kind of like 6 hours straight, I think. Well, not straight, I had a break in the middle, but 6 hours of those 11, or maybe 7 even, I knit. So I knitted quite a lot, a bit too much to be honest. But I was hooked and I wanted the shawl to be finished. So I finished my Yvonne MT shawl, and I have to kind of maybe stand back to show it to you. So you could also see how big it is. It's the whole arm span is kind of the shawl. It is very narrow in one end, and it gets really wide in the other end. And this part was actually the hardest one, like with the pattern here, the plain pattern, because you have she's kind of writing one repeat, and then she says, do it 8 times more. And I kind of printed out 8 times, 7 times the pattern, the repeat, so I could kind of cross the lines. Each repeat had 49 or so rows, so it's quite a long repeat. And after 7 times or 8 times in total, I counted the stitches. I was like, yes, I'm finished. And then I realized I have 12 stitches. 12 stitches are missing. Where are they? And then I went back to the pattern and read again, and I saw she actually wrote 8 times more. So 9 repeats, and that was really a motivation killer. It's totally my fault, I didn't read correctly. But I was like, oh no, not again, not the same thing. It was a bit a hard one to bite through. But once I finished these 9 repeats, and that was, I think I finished in the first half an hour, I finished the 9th repeat at Venetia's live charity stream. And then I could kind of smell the ending, and I was like, no matter how long it takes, I'm going to finish this thing. And I did the whole edge section, finishing section, I did during the live stream. So this was kind of 6 hours of knitting or so. And I'm really happy with the result. I love it. And it really softened up, and it got a nice drape after blocking it. So it's still a bit itchy for me. If I'm putting it here, it's like, no, I don't mind it outside, but inside it's like, no, I wouldn't want that. it gives me goosebumps actually. But outside it's fine. It's very warm and cozy, and it's really big. I like that. I wasn't sure if I could handle this kind of shape. It's kind of asymmetrical triangle, and I can show you how I put it. I kind of take it over my shoulders because this is where I need to stay warm to make the wide angle here, and then I kind of just slop it around once, and wrong side, and just make it a bit nice and kind of put it here. Sometimes I put a pin here. No, that's the wrong side. So, this mirroring effect is very hard. Kind of wiggle it so it's lays nicely, and then I kind of have it like this, and it's so warm. And the best thing is I can really kind of, when I'm wearing my hat, I can really kind of put it up here, and it stays there on my hat, and it's so warm and cozy. And if I have a shawl underneath, which I always do, I just pull off my shawl up to my face, and I kind of go like this, and then I don't mind it. So this is really a nice one. Sometimes I also do, I put this through just to keep it a bit more safe. Now let me see, I messed it up. So I just kind of leave it like this, and I will stand up again and give you a little turn. I hope you can actually see that and it's not too far away, but I have to try. So it's far too warm to wear it inside, so I'm taking it off now. It's also the reason why I'm not wearing it. I knitted this with a Go Handmade vintage yarn, also from Hobby. In the colors, I think they had numbers. Can you kind of, yeah, that's more true to color. This is actually very true to color back here. It's a kind of a golden yellow and a dark brown. So it's really, I love it. And I also like the back side. I mean, it's mosaic, so I didn't know what to expect from the backside, but I really like it also. So it's not a bad thing for me if it kind of turns around and you see a bit of the backside. It's kind of, it's okay. I don't mind. Yeah, love it. I'm very happy I finished it. I'm very proud I managed to finish this, and I kind of pushed through. It's also proof for me that I can put aside a whip and take it back after 4 or 5 months and then finish it. Because I never done that before this, because I've always been afraid that I would not go back to it and kind of forget about it or don't care about it anymore. So this is really, it is so lovely. Second whip is a very small one, and it was a very spontaneous knit because it was so cold, and my partner Ian, he always goes outside for smoking. He went outside, and I always told him, like, I can knit you some fingerless mittens or something. So fingerless mitts if you want to. He was like, no, I don't need those, no. And then I kind of caught him wearing my fingerless mitts, which actually were far too small for his hands. They kind of ended here. And they were like practically useless to him because his fingers were still all out. And he has a bit larger and wider hands, but not much, but he has longer hands than I do. So I told him, okay, I'm going to knit you some fingerless mittens. And I did. I whipped those out in 2 evenings. So one evening to second evening. You might recognize it is the same kind of yarn. We are having a theme here. It's not planned. It's just coincidence. But I had leftovers. I made a vest out of this yarn, and I had a ball as a leftover, and I used the whole ball for these 2 mittens. I actually had to substitute the last tiny bit here on his thumb, his second, because I ran out of yarn basically. And I knitted those with needles 4mm, I think, so really, really tight. It's actually really tight, and I can show you they're too big for me, but for him they are quite perfect. His fingers are like out this much, and his thumb is out, like, they are very good. And it's also the Tweed Delight yarn, the same as my jumper, but in the green. And it has some beige and white speckles in it. And he loves green, so he really likes them, and they keep his hands warm. So everything fine. They aren't blocked yet, that's why they look a little bit wonky, because it was so cold. I finished them and he used them. When I finished the first one, he used only one. And when I finished the second one, he used both. But as soon as it gets a bit warmer, I will block them, and they will become a bit softer then. They are quite sturdy, especially here where I have like taken up the stitches. It's quite thick because I took quite a dense gauge. Yeah. And the little rest here I think is from a long cash soft or something. I just took some very similar green. You hardly can see it, so it's fine. He likes them, he wears them. He's not freezing off his hands anymore. These were my 2 finished objects. I focused mainly on the shawl first, and I just finished these 2 mitts because he needed them. But I started 3 new things. I didn't take over a lot. The only thing I took over from last year knitting was the shawl. So I didn't have anything left to do. Like, I have the crochet blanket, which I'm coming to later, but yeah, I didn't have anything left to finish. Like, I finished everything before Christmas, the other stuff. So I started that in the last year. I started my stick season sweater, which I think turns out really great. I love the color, I really do. It looks a bit huge, but I'm not used to knitting oversized garments. I normally knit quite fitted garments. That's how I like my garments to be, but I really wanted a bit of a looser fit this time. I wanted to try that, not only as the only oversized sweater I have is the bright blue raglan sweater, which was my first raglan, which is my kind of homeware sweater. But I wanted a bit of a looser fitting, more relaxed fitting sweater, also which looks nice actually, which I can wear on at work or something and kind of cozy up in it. That's the stick season. So I took not the smallest size, I took size 2, which gives me, I think, about around size 1 in gauge would have been 83 centimeters bust circumference, which actually would have given me negative ease. And the next size is 93 bust circumference, which gives me an ease of about 6 to 7 centimeters. But I'm not quite on gauge. My gauge is a bit bigger. I have 19 stitches on 4 inches or 10 centimeters instead of 20. So I calculated that I will get kind of a 97 centimeter, which gives me 10 centimeters of ease. I think Kriabea suggested to take 5 to 15 centimeters of positive ease. So I'm quite in the middle there. And I would have had only, it really feels oversized. I'm not, especially the neckline feels huge, but I know there is the color being added later, like that's my next step. But I'm very keen on seeing how this will look. And yeah, what else to tell? I kind of, because I knew I was more of a size and I have quite thin of a waist, I decreased some stitches on the waist to get it a bit smaller, but not too much, only around four stitches, I think. So yeah, I didn't do the bottom hem yet, because the yarn I'm knitting it with is the Natasja New Jersey yarn, and I bought this yarn in Genova, and I bought more than I needed. In the pattern, Rebecca states that you need kind of 900 and something meters, but I bought 13 balls of the Natasja yarn, which has 85 meters on one, which gives me, calculating, which gives me 1,100 and a little bit. So I wanted to be sure, I wanted to be safe, because I knew it would be very, very hard, if close to impossible, to get that yarn in Switzerland. I haven't seen that yarn anywhere here, I haven't seen it online, so I was making sure I bought enough of the yarn. Natasja New Jersey, it's merino wool, and it's color number 5886, and it's really lovely, really soft and squishy, like, oh, I could make a bed out of this yarn and, and lie into this bed. But I was really shocked, because my first ball was finished around, let me see, here. So I knitted top down to here, and here ended my first ball of yarn. I was like, oh my god, I knitted nothing. And then my second one was a bit further down, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have enough yarn, I don't have enough yarn. I was already panicking, because you know I hate playing yarn chicken. So I was like, okay, I knit a minimum length I want, and I leave the rip for now, and then I do the sleeves as long as I want them. And if I see I get very tight with the yarn, I don't do those rips either, and then do the color first and try to get some more yarn, or in another color and do the rip in another color, worst case. As you can see, I did the rip of the sleeves in the same yarn, so I think I'm going to have enough of it. I have 2 and a bit left, 2 balls and this bit, and it's the only thing is left to do is the collar, which I want to make double folded, like this one, by the way. I just prefer it, it's such a nice cozy feeling. And then I'm going back in here, and I think I will lengthen it a bit more, because it's oversized. I really want it not to be too short, and then I want to do a rip there, of course, and yeah, we'll see. But first the collar. I also want to try this kind of slip not slip stitch, like the trim that Venicia from the Woolly Worker is always telling about, and I really like how that looked on her sweaters, where you have this neat line going down here and you do it with a crochet hook. I don't know if it's a slip stitch or if it's a simple crochet stitch. Not good at crochet here, so I don't know. But I want to try that to give this neckline a bit of a shape, and maybe I can kind of, I feel it's very stretchy. So I kind of want to maybe cinch it a little bit in, not too much, but just a bit. The only change in the pattern I did was I lengthened this part for 1 centimeter before I started the increases, because Rebecca has her collar quite high up, which, as I said before, I don't like that. So I wanted it to come a bit lower, and yeah, that's why I lengthened 1 centimeter here. I could knit the sleeves actually to length, as she stated, like 38 centimeters. It was perfect fit. I had to lengthen the body too. This was the 25 centimeters she stated. It was nowhere. It was kind of still above my belly button, which is not a style I'm wearing. I have one cropped sweater which you've already seen, and that's enough. I don't wear it that much because I don't like my belly kind of to feel cold, especially with a warm and cozy sweater like this one. So yeah, I love this one. I just love the color. I'm so looking forward to wearing this. And I'm looking forward to doing the collar, actually. I'm very keen on trying this technique. I did a Italian bind off on the sleeves, or tubular. I can't tell what the difference is. I always say it kind of with a, if I see it somewhere in a tutorial, I always see it with a slash, like tubular / Italian bind off. Like, is it the same? Is it two names for the same bind off? Or are these two different bind offs which are very similar and you can't actually see a difference? Like, haven't figured that out. So I just followed a YouTube tutorial and I really like how this looks. It really fits the style of the sweater, I think, and it's nice and not too flary. It's neat. Oh, and I did a 1x1 rip instead of a 2x2 because I don't really like 2x2 rip. I have 1x1 almost everywhere. I just prefer it. I think it looks just so much neater than the 2x2. That's my first whip. Almost done. I think by next podcast I will definitely have this finished, and I'm very much looking forward to wearing this. But it needs a good block. You can see where the pattern ends and the stockinette begins. It kind of bulks up a bit, so it needs a good blocking first. So yeah, I hope the light is not getting too bad, because now it gets dark. It's 5:30 and the sun is setting now really quickly, so have to get going. The second whip is it's half finished. It's a sock, a scrappy sock, and it just makes me smile. I just love it. It uses up some scrap yarn, and most of them are gifts from which were in my scrappy yarn advent from Knit and See. But I'm afraid I can't tell you what they are. I kind of at some point I was unpacking them, and there was always a nice little card with it, which told you what kind of yarn it is. But I kind of, at one point I kind of mixed them up and I had to push them to the side, and it all got, I don't know anymore which one is which, but I remembered and I followed. When I unpacked a yarn that I really liked, I just went to Instagram or kind of internet if they didn't have Instagram, and kind of marked the page, so I know which one I liked, and I can find the page. So I love it. Look at those colors. As my main color, I chose the Schachenmeier yarn. I think it's a Schachenmeier bamboo merino wool, sock wool thingy. I lost the ball band, so I can't tell you. No, I lost it. I'm sorry. But it's Schachenmeier bamboo something, sock yarn with bamboo. And I just saw this color, and I had a lot of mini 10 grams with the kind of the same blue in it, and I just picked 3 that have the same blue in it, and I just alternated them. This dark one here is from my own stash, and I just have a tiny ball of this one. I have no idea where this comes from. I have no idea what it is. I think it is sock yarn. I hope so. Otherwise I will know. And then we have these were the 3 little mini balls. Let me see how I can show them to you. So they all have this kind of bluish color in them, which I thought would really match really well with the Schochenmeier yarn. And so I did the stripes, and I am going to do the second sock the same way. Yeah, I just kind of made it up as I went. I started, as always, toe up. Although I did change something, I did 60 stitches and on 2.5mm needles. Normally I'm knitting my socks on 2.75mm needles, but I said, why not? I try 2.5mm needles and see, but yeah, it is a bit of pain to knit with those needles. I really find the difference from 2.5mm DP ends to 2.75mm DP ends quite big, to kind of just to hold them and to knit them. They are so tiny and so thin, like it's incredible. It's hard for me kind of to hold them, and I prefer knitting with a 2.75, but I of course will do just the second sock in the same needle size. I did a shadow wrap short row heel, but I tried a little pattern, the pattern that actually was in the acorn socks heel. I really like that, but it doesn't work that well with this shadow wrap short row heel, because when I'm wearing them, it gets a bit holey, I think. It isn't that tense, no, not tense, tight. Yeah, it's a bit gaping, I think. And I also did the ribbing from the acorn socks, which is the double folded cuff, which I just love. It's really the perfect mixture of flexible and cozy, and yeah, not sliding down. So perfect. Love that. Love the sock, really. I love to look at it. And I made them longer. They are the longest socks I've ever knit. So I will see how I like wearing them when I'm finished and can wear them. Normally I made them a bit shorter, and I made the foot a tiny smidge too short, like before I started the heel, but I think I can kind of block this out a bit and make them a bit longer, and I will knit the second one at 0.5 centimeter longer. So this is my second whip, and it lives in my self-made little project bag with this nice fabric and the green. Yeah. Then the third whip, and the one that will be my longest whip for, it will not be finished by next podcast, is I started my Sweetshop blanket. Like, this is the starting triangle, so you see I'm in the midst of knitting it. There are 2 kind of squares missing. And guys, I was very hesitant about knitting a blanket. I always wanted a knitted blanket. I always also wanted a quilted blanket, which, as I'm not the most patient one in sewing and knitting, I thought, no, not a good idea. All these tiny pieces and sew them together, I was like, oh no, I just don't see myself doing this. And then I saw this blanket when Laura Penrose brought it out, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. It is, the thing with knitted blanket for me is they often are too much for me. I don't like this really wild, scrappy blanket where it's just too much for my eyes somehow. It's kind of overwhelming. I wouldn't know where to put it and how to, I mean, I would use it, but I don't like them. Also temperature blankets, they are kind of just too much. But I didn't want to knit like 100 squares and then sew them together or stitch them together. I was like, oh gosh, no, I don't see myself doing that either. I will knit 10 squares and then I'm doing other stuff. And then Laura Penrose came out with that blanket, and she said or talked about the same issues of knitting blankets that she has, and that she came up with this pattern because of those issues, because you always add on the next square directly to the blanket. And guys, I was like, yeah, I'm giving it a go. I'm trying it. I had my yarn advent from Birch Street Yarns, which you've seen in the last episode. And I didn't want to do a garment with it. So I said, okay, I had enough to do with my shawl. I was like, oh no, not I need a little shawl break now. But I wanted to do a blanket, and I was like, the colors would be so nice, and I could use all other scraps I have lying around. It's perfect. So this is how far I am. And let me see if I can show you this, this one, and this one are all from the advent calendar. Did I miss one? Yes. This two and this two, and the beige here. So actually this whole line is from the advent. Here is those two. That is another one. This is from the yarn advent. Then next, this is from the advent. This is from my scrappy yarn advent. I had 2 tiny balls in there, which were not sock yarn, which were just plain merino fingering. And this is so much fun, really. I got these 2 yarns as 10 grams scraps from Christine from Knit and See channel podcast. And I was like, when I saw them, I was like, they have to go together. And I saw them in my blanket. I was like, this will look so good. Guys, it looked even better than I thought. I mean, look at this marling. This is so gorgeous. And it's these 2 yarns held together. It's perfect. And this is actually one of my first hand-dyed sock yarns I bought. And I just held 2 strands together. This is from my cardigan, piece left over of my Rowan yarn. And this one is the yak lung, which I made my Mitsmith. It was a leftover. So I can kind of put in all my leftovers, and it's gorgeous, and it's so much fun. And I love, whenever I'm finished, I kind of know what's going to be here. It will be this color. We'll go here, in between those. And then I need to figure out what I put here. And I realized I'm missing kind of a true red. And I'm thinking of bringing in the dark red from my Goldwing sweater, which I also have a ball left over. And I might do a red one up here. We'll see. And then I lay it out, and then I put the yarn balls around it and and move them around and see what would fit and what would look nice. And yeah, it's so much fun, and it's really addictive. You just want to keep on going. You want to do another triangle and another triangle and another triangle. And yeah, I have the square finished now. I'll finish this square. Oh, let's start the next one. I just know which color, and you just kind of go on. I mean, I'm knitting on this since a week, maybe, and I've almost have 16 squares, and also the back side is really nice. So yeah, and I'm taking Laura Penrose's tip and always sew in my threads right after I did the square. And my main color, the beige color, is a Drops Merino Extra Fine. It's a superwash treated extra fine merino wool. It's color 50, which was a light beige. And I really like the color. And it's really dark outside, so the light is kind of overblowing this color. Let me see if I can change something. Yeah, now it's better. So this is the color. it's so lovely and it's very soft. And I don't know what I was thinking, but when I ordered it, I only ordered kind of 7 balls. And of course and then I realized I need 1 ball for 5 squares. So 10 gram, just around. I had some left. And I was like, what did I calculate? I mean, 7 times 50 grams is 350. So what did I calculate? I mean, it was nonsense. I had not near enough yarn, so I ordered another batch of 7 balls because I want the blanket to be actually bigger than like an in-between size of her lap blanket versions and the throw. I want just 1 row added. It's kind of 56, or I go up to 60 or 63. Maybe I do a bit more when I like do. I can stop whenever I want. That's perfect. It is. I love it. So much fun. Can only recommend this pattern if you really are intimidated by knitting a blanket because of it's so much work. I don't know if I keep going. It's too huge. I don't want to knit 1 hour for 1 row. I don't want to sew together 150 squares in the end. This is really fun. So I can recommend this pattern. Now, I said before that I have kind of a half a whip with my crochet blanket. Let me just get it. So you can remember that I at some point wanted to do a crochet blanket for myself with granny squares. Well, I changed that plan because I just realized I'm not too much of a fan of crocheting, and I don't want 150 squares and then have to crochet them together. So I made a change of plans and I will do a baby blanket. These squares, I had 2, 4, 6, I had 8 squares or 9 squares, I think it was. I was 9. And I added 3 of the beige ones. So I have 12. And I just made another kind of soft rose one and added that too. And I will do 2 more of the soft rose one and more of the beige ones, and then I can kind of mix them up and distribute the rose ones a bit, or the lilac rose ones. And this will be a baby blanket. I don't know yet if the baby is a girl or a boy. It doesn't matter actually. I know it will be fun. It can be fun. Maybe I'll add another color. Maybe I'll add in some yellow or so. So it's a bit of a beige with some mostly blue, but some other colors squares. And I put them together nicely and sew them together. I have time until, I think, was it May? Maybe the baby's plant due in May, but not sure. So I will do a baby blanket with this one, which I think I will not need a whole lot of squares. I think when I have 20 squares, I will see how far this gets me and add 1 or 2 just to, I don't even know if I want to make it square or rectangular. So what makes more sense? I have no experience with babies. So yeah, we will see. It's kind of it's okay. I try to do 2 or 3 a week, kind of force myself to do a granny square, and then I can, as a reward, go on knitting on my Sweetshop blanket. Not something that is very much fun to me, but I think I will like the finished result, and I think it will be a very handy and good thing as a baby gift. So yeah, this is kind of in work progress too, but not first choice or first focus on. Let's come to plans and acquisitions. Plans will not really be knitting plans, I think, just a little bit, because I already talked in the last video about my knitting plans, about knitting my winter jumper, which will be a raglan I make up. And yeah, as soon as I finish the stick season, I will start that one and hope I can get it finished. I really long for kind of knitting on that one now, because the colors will be so perfect with the wintry scene outside my windows. So I really want to start that one. And if I don't finish it before spring, or if I feel like, oh no, I want to change over to spring knitting now, I know now, because of my Yvonne MT shawl by Natasja Hornby, by the way, Moonstruck Knits, I know now I can leave it resting over the summer and pick it back up in autumn and have it then ready for winter. Acquisitions first. I already told you that I acquired a lot of those drops yarns, which were actually in a sale in Switzerland. One yarn ball only cost me 4 francs and 30 Rappen wraps. It sounds a bit strange in English. But I also acquired some bit more expensive yarn. When Vanessa was doing her 12 hours knitting charity live stream thingy, she had sponsors, and one of the sponsors was Sakami Yarns, which gave a 20% discount, which I used. And I ordered 4 skeins, 2 DK, 2 fingering. The fingerings are, I think it's sock yarn. Oh no, it's superwash merino yarn. Not sock yarn, it's 100% merino. And it's the color oatmeal, which is this lovely light, almost a little bit beige with a golden sheen to it. I really like that one. It's a lovely color. And the color, let me see, Earth Scented, which is this lovely green. So nice. Kind of try to find the best lighting situation. It's not easy, it's dark outside now. So really lovely. I might blend in a picture also of the yarns in a better daylight photo, so you can also see the color a bit better. Then the DK yarns are 100% organic merino, non-superwash DK weight, and this is the color Cinnamon Stone, which, I mean, hello, beauty! Look at this! This is such a beautiful color. I don't know, I never used to like these earthy colors when I was younger. I always wanted the bright ones, like the bright blues, the bright greens, the bright reds, oranges. And now I'm kind of, give me all the earth tones. When I drive through the forest, or it's like, oh, this is a lovely brown, this is a lovely brown. And, I mean, you see the theme here. This is totally in the theme. This is like my blanket there. Oh, I love it. And I have another one which is insanely beautiful. Bonfires and Fog in the Valleys. I wouldn't have guessed that name, to be honest, but it's so lovely. It's also DK weight, non-superwash. Oh no, that's not true. This is superwash yarn. And it's this insanely beautiful green, earthy, mossy green. It's just, and the yarn is just super soft. It has a lovely sheen to it, so it's almost in a bit of a yellow part here. It's a bit more mossy, darker here. Again, I will put in some pictures tomorrow. I will take some pictures in a better light. We will have nice weather tomorrow and sunlight, and I will take those and do a little photo shoot so you can see them. But all 4 together, like, just beautiful. And a big surprise was that she put in I think it's a 20 milligram. I haven't measured, I haven't weighed it, but I think it's a 20 gram. And I mean, this is just, wow. I have no thing. I think it's a fingering weight because it looks, no, it could also be a DK. It's kind of, it looks in between DK and fingering. Maybe it's a sport weight then. Between fingering and DK, it could be a sport weight. And it has this little green part at the end of here. I'm really keen to know how this will knit up, and I think this one will go into my Sweetshop blanket. as I'm on it, because I don't know if it's superwash or what kind of wool it is. So I'm not sure, and that maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen a kind of a card or something telling me what it is. But it's lovely. I don't care. It's lovely. So I think I will put that into my Sweetshop blanket with the little green part here. Will be nice. That's very interesting. I've never seen a yarn dyed like this. Like, you know, this only this part, this little edge being dyed in a different color. Like, I'm very keen to know how this knits up. Very keen to know. So thank you for the Sakami for this lovely little gift. It was a beautiful surprise, and I love those. I think with this DK one, I will knit myself some fingerless mittens, some fingerless mitts, because I have 2 pairs with the same yarn, which are on my Ravelry, the Irish hiking mitts, and they are with a long yak kind of yarn, which is fine when it's really, really cold, but it's itching me on top. Yes, I know, I'm really sensitive. It is itching me on top, and yeah, not working when it's a bit warmer. So I might choose one of those to make myself a fingerless mitt, and maybe I do a cowl or something. I'll find something, no problem. And the last acquisition is not yet here. I did a pre-order at Fiberfox Yarns for her Advent release of the normal kind of skeins, and I ordered 4 fingering weight sock yarn skeins. I hope that one is matching with this beauty here from Das Mondschaf, which was a gift in my advent calendar from Christine from Knit & See. And I want to do a musselburgh hat with this, but I want tonal hand-dyed yarn to go with it to kind of make it not that wild. And my preference would be like this dark burgundy color. And I hope that I can find that the one I ordered at Fiberfox will be a good match. If not, I can always take these 2 together, because they would match also really, really nicely. Or I think I could even take these 2 together. It's also having these green bits in here, which are very similar. So I have options. But I want to wait for the other yarns to not start and then see, oh no, I would have preferred that, and rip it all back. So these are basically all my plans I'm going to tell you about, because the knitting plans I told you in the last episode. Video-wise, I'm very happy with my monthly schedule. My 4 Advent special videos, which I did in a weekly sequence. I had those weekly video experience, and it was really stressful for me, because I work 80% as a primary school or elementary school teacher, depending on where you are from, you call it differently. And I couldn't hold that up during the year. So I'm very happy with my monthly, more or less. Maybe it's sometimes 3 weeks, maybe sometimes it's 4 or 5 weeks or so. So I'm not too set on a certain date or day. I want to do some in-between videos every now and then. Not regularly. If I have something, I think I will try doing a video of the Swiss Yarn Festival as an in-between. I'm not sure yet if I feel very comfortable like going around and filming with my camera, everything. And yeah, I will see how comfortable I feel with that, or if I just take photos and put together like a photo collage video or something like that. But this is in April, so I have some time to get used to filming a little bit outside my living room, maybe. Yeah, but I really feel uncomfortable doing it. I was at a yarn store, pop-up store opening with a friend last Saturday in the city near where I live, and I kind of thought of taking out my camera and taking a little bit of small short videos of the yarns, or maybe it was Save the Yarn and a knitting community leader, but I felt very uncomfortable, like pulling out my camera and kind of walking around with with it and filming it and posting it, and like, I'm a YouTuber or whatever. It's that still feels very weird to me. So I think it will be easier in the Swiss Yarn Festival, because you kind of walk around and a lot of people are filming and snapping photos, so it might be a bit more disguised, and yeah, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to this festival, and hope I can bring myself to take the camera out and actually film a bit. And yeah, that is a plan, but I haven't too much planned out so far. It's I covered a lot of things I wanted to do with my Advent specials. I did a pattern roundup in the first one for easy, quick knits, gift knits. Almost all of them are free patterns. Then I did the one where I tell you about how I choose my sweater design, what I'm looking out for, fit, style-wise, shape, yarn, whatever, patterns, color, a little tiny bit of color theory there. And then I showed you all of my outfit style ideas with my garments I have. It's in the third Advent special, and the fourth is all my knitting books. So I did a lot of what I wanted to do as in-between videos I did as the Advent special. So I'm not having I still have in mind like a knit and chat maybe. Yeah, I don't know if I actually managed to chat in English and knit and don't look like a total fool, or just ramble some stupid stuff. I'm not sure I can manage this, so we'll see. The only thing left to say is thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, like this video. You can find me on Ravelry as Eillets and on Instagram as knitting_Eillets. And as always, all pattern mentioned are down in the info box below. And yeah, I think you can find almost everything I've shown here knitted on this channel. You can find on my Ravelry page with notes. So yeah, have a nice time. Keep warm when you're in a cold climate. Stay warm, stay cozy, and see you next time. Bye.